Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Now, we are looking at a specific engine today, which is Chronicle. Chronicle is a really interesting engine which, as of when it first came out in BT20, I thought was dog water. I thought it was just not consistent enough. I felt it was two-piece dependent. It just wasn't good enough. But now we've got the Digimon egg. It does work surprisingly well. Now, something you will notice, if eagle-eyed people will notice, there's something different about this Chronicle engine. This is not a typical Chronicle build. This is not using Alphamons or Oryukin or stuff like that. I basically built this list because of East, not because of a request from him or anything like that. I mean, East, if you want me to make any deck profiles for you, let me know. Not that you need it, because you know this game way better than I do, but whatever. But I was watching his meta report the other day, and he called Gallantmon X a hoe because of the fact that essentially it will make sense. Essentially, Gallantmon X is actually surprisingly splashable and has been making its way into a lot of different lists. I mean, I've seen it used in a multitude of different things. I've tried it in using a lot of things. We've seen a Digimon build top in Japan with it. I saw Digidane using Gallantmon X in a Sylphie B profile. So it is a very splashable card. I myself have even put it in a kind of Armadillomon list, which if you guys do want to see that, let me know, and I can always put that up onto the channel. Bearing in mind, this is all going to be on DCGO because I do not own a playset of Gallantmon X, and I doubt I ever will. But there's a lot of interesting ways you can play it. Now, if we're talking about the Chronicle Engine specifically, you could basically use whatever black, red, or yellow X Antibody guys that you want. Obviously, you could play this as the normal Chronicle Engine. Absolutely go for it if you wanted to do that. But the list that kind of inspired this, hence why there's two copies of it in here, is Giga Chronicle. So kind of using Giga Digimon as a combo in with that, which we'll explain later. Hence why I've kept it in here. But I thought, well, why not put Gallantmon X in instead? How could it go wrong? He's a really good card. He's fantastic. He's great. Let's give it a go. Anyways, let's go into the deck profile and we'll get into some gameplay a little later and see if we can show off some of the combos we'll be discussing. First off is the Digimon, which, as I said, this is the missing piece of the puzzle when it came to this deck. Like, the fact that you've got this as an egg, so you've got that guaranteed way of attacking and then going up into a Chronicle Digimon. It is for the cost, so do bear that in mind, but you've got this guaranteed way of doing that. You don't need to have the Gallantmon. You don't need the Tamer out. There's no setup required. It's just in an egg now, which is just so much better for the archetype. If it weren't for the fact Gallantmon X is so expensive, I'd be really tempted to play around with this. And to be fair, there are other cards that you could play in the Giga Chronicle engine that we will take a look at. Next, we're going to look at Ryudamon. So when this Digimon would digivolve into Ginryumon or a Digimon card with the Chronicle trait, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1, just helps you climbing up a little bit cheaper. Gives you a 2000 DP boost for the Inheritable as well, so not bad. Then we've got 4 copies of the old BT7 Doraemon. I actually found in this deck, although we're playing both of the Doraemons at 4 copies, that the older one tends to be the better searcher in this deck, just because of the fact it adds any X Antibody trait and any Kota, so any Kota Demoto in name, whereas the other one reveals top 3, both of them are reveal the same amount. This one adds 1 card with the X Antibody trait, so it can add any card with the X Antibody trait, and 1 Tamer or option with the Chronicle trait. So this one actually can only add the new Kota and not the old one, which is interesting. Whereas this one can add both of them, because this is Kota and then this one has a rule trait on it to be treated as Kota. So in actual fact, the BT7 one, at least in this specific build, but we're not trying to search out the Chronicle option card because we're not playing that in this build. Although there's definitely an argument that you could, and I'm sure there'll be some seasoned Chronicle players who'll be going, A, why are you playing Gallantmon X and Giga Digimon in this instead? Why aren't you playing the Alphamon stuff, you traitor? And 2, B, did I say A? Did I say 1 or did I say A? I actually, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very tired. Anyways, you know, there'll be some people saying, you know, maybe you should be playing the option, something like that. But I found, because we want to make sure we've got X Antibody as much as possible, that was the option we needed to prioritize and have it for. But you know, these guys also do have interesting inheritables. This one gains a memory when you add something to its sources, which we do with the X Antibody, so it will gain us a memory. And then this one gives us 2000 DP on the opponent's turn, which is not bad. Then into our level 4s, I'm only playing 8, just playing the Chronicle stuff. I did try the... what was it? Is it... Hang on. Let's have a look. Ginryu, this guy. I did try playing this guy, the BT8 Ginryumon, who's just a vanilla but has an inheritable to give blocker to anything with X Antibody. Because in theory, you can give blocker to the Gallantmon X, or the, you know, or just any other X Antibody that you've got. But the issue is our other level 6s, this has blocker already, and this has blocker already, and a lot of the other Digimon that we could also use also have blocker already. You know, so I just found it doesn't work as much. Whereas these guys, you know, again, having them to just be digivolving on this, because this reduces the cost of Chronicles. I mean, technically it does also reduce a Ginryumon as well. But both of these guys are good. The more important one is going to be the Ginryumon. And the reason being is this guy also has that when attacking, this Digimon may digivolve into Hisaryumon or a Digimon card with the Chronicle trait in the hand. So if you don't have your egg underneath you, which can happen, this is one of your backups in order to make sure you can do that full combo still with your next stack. You know, so, you know, you'll swing in, you'll digivolve up into your level 5, X Antibody will then trigger, digivolve up into Gallantmon X or Gigaseedramon. And you've got the Raptordramon as well. This just plays out your Kotas if you've got one or fewer and gives 2000 DP on the opponent's turn, which is not bad. Then going into the level 5s, which these guys are really cool for the specific combos. We'll start with Hisaryumon first, who, technically speaking, in this build, I find if you're going more Gigaseedramon focused in this build, then this is the better card for your combo. But if you're going Gallantmon X, I find this one tends to be. And the reason is because, yes, it does play Doraemon and Ryudamon into your breeding area. The Grademon also does that as well. But he also gives you 5000 DP and security tap +1 if you've digivolved into him during an attack. Which, bearing in mind, we digivolve into a Chronicle when attacking, digivolve into a Chronicle when attacking, digivolve into a Chronicle when attacking. You know, so you're going to get that security tap +1 and 5000 DP. Then, when you do the X Antibody and go up into the Gallantmon X, then all of a sudden, not only we've got that security tap +1, not only have we got that 5000 DP, we've then suddenly got, your turn, this Digimon doesn't activate security effects on options, which is fantastic, because obviously this has the, you know, ability to be unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects, but not your opponent's options. So we're now smacking into security and not triggering them, which is really cool. I mean, that is, you know, absolutely fantastic. In general for the combo. Technically speaking, doing the grade one is also good. You double up on the protection, because this one, you know, like I said, does the Doraemon Ryudamon thing, but this one does give you 5000 DP and then gives you that immunity to Digimon effects, so you can double up on it essentially. So if they've passed turn and they go to themselves, cool, sick, I'ma digivolve you now, or I'ma pop you, or I'ma do something, you're like, surprise, I had 2 of that effect. You just go full Madara Uchiha, and you're like, but what about the second immunity effect? You know, and on top of that, he gives you a redirect as well, which, given that Gallantmon X gets absolutely massive with the opponent's 10 inheritals plus his own 4000 DP effect, you know, you get a huge kind of pseudo blocker there, which is fantastic. Then let's talk about Gallantmon X himself. Of course, he has that when digivolving, when attacking effect, not once per turn. If Gallantmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gets 4000 DP and one of their Digimon gets -4, so you can clear smaller bodies with that, make other bodies, you know, smaller, and so you can smack into them, you know, whatever you want. Then, when digivolving, end of attack, delete one of your opponent's 10,000 DP or lower Digimon if this effect did not delete. Trash their top security, and this Digimon unsuspends, so that just sets you up for, well, it would set you up for a blocker if we were playing this Ginryu here, but it sets you up for a second attack if you've retained turn, or this has survived a couple of turns and, you know, you've still got it. And And then obviously he has that immunity effect that we discussed as well, which is what really makes Gallantmon X fantastic. Then we still got the Giga Seadramon as well. If you're playing more Giga Chronicle, you absolutely want this at a 4. And to be fair, this guy, there's an argument for this guy being the better level 6 of these two, but I specifically wanted to explore using Gallantmon X in this build, and actually I really love it. Giga Seadramon is definitely a lot cheaper on the wallet than Gallantmon X, so if you wanted to explore with a more kind of janky version of Chronicle, and you know, something that kind of is a little bit more out there, then I would definitely recommend getting the Giga Seadramon if budget was more, you know, finite for you. Like I said, I do not own Gallantmon X. The only one I pulled, I sold immediately, so I do not have any of them. You know, and I do not plan on getting them, because last I checked, the cheapest I think I found them was maybe 30-ish a copy, 40-ish a copy, something like that. Definitely not doing that anytime soon, you know, or ever. But, you know, the Giga Seadramon is really good in this deck, specifically for the combo it can do. It's got Security Tap +1, Reboot, and Blocker, so technically speaking it can hit harder than the Gallantmon X, especially if you've got the Hisaryumon, you've got that extra Security Tap +1. Obviously it doesn't trash anything, but what it will do is when Digivolving, when attacking, from the Digivolution cards of this Digimon, Metal Seadramon or X Antibody and its Digivolution cards, you may play one level 5 or Digimon card without paying the cost. And what that essentially means is that you're using the effect of your level 5 twice in one attack, which is really, really cool. And the one obviously that you want to use the most is going to be the grade one, because unlike Gallantmon X, Giga Seadramon does not have any form of immunity, so you're going to use the grade one, you're going to go up into it with your, when attacking, become a Chronicle, get your 5k, get your immunity, X Antibody, go into Giga Seadramon, play out grade one, give yourself another 5k and another immunity, thus making this, without looking at inheritable effects, a 23k Digimon with Reboot and Blocker and immune to Digimon effects, which is, whoa, that's so cool. It's so good. Like, that's so much spicier than what this deck is you know, meant to do. And definitely when I was talking about kind of testing these sorts of builds, because I've been testing a lot of builds that I've been using Gallantmon X, and like I say, do let me know if you want to see some of the other things that I've been cooking up with Gallantmon X to see just how far we can take and use and abuse this poor dude. But I was having a chat with some of the guys, and some of them are very much more purists, like this is an archetypal game, you know, we archetypes are better than toolboxes. But I'm of the opinion, you know, this game is becoming more toolboxy, and I'd love to do more of a deep dive into that at some point, you know, get a script out going, talk about, you know, this game and the evidence of kind of decks becoming a little bit more toolbox oriented and using, you know, a wider array of cards, not just the ones within their archetype. But that is definitely a video for another day. The other thing that is really good about Giga Seadramon, back to the actual topic of this video, when any of your Digimon are played from Digivolution cards, de-Digivolve to one of your opponent's Digimon, so you're making something much smaller and much more manageable to deal with, on top of making this an absolute behemoth, you know, a big, unaffected, at least by Digimon effects, blocker that also would have a redirect because of the Grademon. Like, it's so good. It's so good. You know, both of these are absolutely fantastic, and you could definitely swap and change which one, as well as also potentially use other level 6 X Antibodies as well. Then speaking of big level, level 7 in this case, X Antibody dudes, Omnimon X. We can search this guy super easily. Everything is, you know, we search X Antibody card, we search X Antibody card. He's an X Antibody card, funny enough. Raid, Piercing, Blocker. If Omnimon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, choose one of both players' Digimon and delete all other Digimon. Then return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. So, obviously, when you go into this guy, you want to make sure that your own stuff is not out. Because even this guy, he's only unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects. This one, opponent's Digimon effects. So nothing will on your side will be saved or be safe from that Omnimon X effect. So do make sure you've done that. I definitely had a misplay with that earlier today, which was very funny. But not as funny as another one I did with a different list, which if I do end up doing... I'll spoil it. It was a yellow-based Gallantmon build using Armadillomon, the Armadillo engine, because I freaking love that engine, and I was trying to find more generic engines to use. And there was a very funny interaction between what I thought would be a good card in the build, but actually was a really bad card in the build because of some of the inheritable effects. You might be able to guess what it was, maybe, but if we ever do that deck profile, I'll show you, or at least talk about it, at the very least. But the other thing that Omnimon X is really good is it will swing, it's got Rush for the turn, and attacks without suspending, and give that to one of your Digimon. So, absolutely phenomenal card, and we can search it in this deck, which is brilliant. Then, into the Tamers, I've only got 2 of the Kota and Yuji, and the reason being is this is only really a backup to the, we need something that's going to make a Chronicle go up into something kind of thing. This one does let you reduce the cost, unlike the Egg and unlike the Ginryumon, but the difference is the difference in cost. Yes, you'll have a turn to set it up, but playing this out for 5 cost, is kind of nuts. Obviously, if we don't have it out and we play it out with the Raptormon, that's also good, but again, it turns a 1-card combo into a 2-card combo, so I don't like relying on the Tamer as much as the Egg or the Ginryumon. These are my primary, secondary, thirdary. That's a word, I promise. Way of doing the combo. So ultimately, I don't like it as much as compared to these. But so I prioritized instead the old Kota. Now you could use a cheaper kind of Tamer for what this guy is for, which is the Cool Boy, because that will search your X Antibodies. But the thing is, this obviously could be played out by your Raptormon. This also sets you to 3. Both of our Tamers set us to 3, which is actually really good for the combo, so it's not costing us too much, because we can do the combo on 1 memory, but we probably shouldn't do it whilst we're on 1 memory, because most of these things are going to be for cost. The Kota is really nice because it does search all X Antibody trait cards in the deck. The other issue with Cool Boy as well is all of your X Antibodies in this deck are different levels. So you have none of the, Greymon going into Greymon X, Garurumon going into Garurumon X kind of scenarios. All of your X Antibodies are different levels. So you're never going to get the 1 memory, 1 draw from Cool Boy. So, there's no point using that card if you can't use it to its full effect, at least in my opinion. Hence why I went with the Kota instead. Just to set us up with more memory, whilst also being able to search any of our X Antibody trait cards. Then we've got 4 copies of Garnet Memory Boost. We needed this in here because we've got a lot of black Digimon, but we've also pivotably got 1 Digimon which is not black at all. So we need to make sure we can search every Digimon in the deck. Omnimon as well, not black either. So we've got these, as red targets for Garnet Memory Boost. You could maybe try and go more like, physical training or something like that, but then you're going to miss out on your red-black line, your Giga Seedramon, all that sort of stuff. So I found Garnet Memory Boost was the best generic searcher we could use. And then we've of course got BT9X Antibody at 4 as well. We need this as a combo in this deck, so it is in here and it's here to stay. Right, let's now see if we could jump into some gameplay of this deck so I can properly talk you through the combo. Right, so onto our gameplay. We are going second against what will be revealed as 3 Great Angels, which is definitely not a deck to slouch on at all. Has been getting some topping results and is definitely pretty spooky to go up against. But we do quite well against it, so spoilers alert. But we did decide to keep our hand. We've got loads of searching potential in our hand, despite the fact not having a lot of our pieces. We luckily draw into our Gallantmon X as well, which is great. Go into the Dorumon into the back on top of our Dorumon into Dorumon, sorry. We then deck bottom those ones. We've got everything we need now. We've got a level 4, we've got a level 5. We've literally got everything we need, to go off on the combo on turn 2, which is insane. They then take a little bit of time to deliberate over what they are doing. I think they end up going into an Angemon. They go to Scramble, which then goes into Angemon, I believe. Yep, there you go. So I've got the Angemon, got the Scramble set up, left us on 1, which is kind of dangerous. And we decide, actually, although we've got the combo available to us, we could have done it. Actually saying that, we're slightly too little memory, actually. So we go into the back just to leave them on 1 as well. They've got no memory tamers, so there you go. They then go into the Patamon. And they've got a lot of stuff going on here. They go the Angemon, swinging on in, get to do their shenanigans with the Cupimon egg and get a draw from the Luxmon, which is very nice. taking out that, get a memory. They hit into a Kota, so they do survive. And we do get a search here, and we decide to get the Raptidramon just because we can start building up a stack in the back once we've done our combo. So we figure out, why not? We'll do that. It'll let us just build up and go nice and slow. They then scramble again to go into Magna Angemon. Angemon, sorry. Beg your pardon. And then hard Digivolve into Dominimon, which will then let them play out that Angemon. So here we go. We're now ready to go with the combo. We've got enough memory, thanks to them leaving us on 4, and the fact that we've got the Kota in play as well. So it is going to be time to go to the races. Out comes Ginryumon. We put the X Antibody underneath, and then we're going to swing into that Dominimon because we want it gone. We're then going to use our egg to go up into the Hisaryumon to give ourselves the DP boost and Security Tap +1. Also playing the Dorumon in the back. And then here he comes, Gallantmon X, right there and there. So we go -4 on the Dominimon, just because we can. And then we attempt to delete the Angemon. And I actually thought this was a bit of a fuck up here. But as you'll see, it does turn out okay, because they do decide to try and protect the Angemon to try and maintain their board, because obviously we would board wipe them right here and then if they did allow this. But instead they protect it. Because we didn't delete it, we get a trash. So we actually got 2 trashes from them protecting their Angemon as well as our trash effect. Then we also unsuspend. They recover 1 security, but we're then going to swing on in after doing another -4 to this Angemon. And that's going to be 2 more checks, which now means their Patamon's offline. So actually, if they'd let that Angemon die, they would have lost less security then. Yeah, they would have lost their board, but they would have had a bit more kind of comeback potential. We then just build up at the back. We've got the Dorumon, the Ginryumon. They are on 0 security. There is not a lot that they can do here. But what they do is quite funny. I will absolutely grant them that. They do probably the funniest thing that you could do in this situation. They do have a little bit of thought here. I'm not going to spoil what it is. I'll let you guys see what they decide to do. But they've got this 27k Gallantmon X here on the field. I mean, this is huge. This is a massive dude. The fact that we were able to do the effect twice last turn, so we've got a 5k boost from the Hisaryumon and then an 8k boost from our Gallantmon X is just stupid. Like, that's stupid big, guys. That's stupid big. And potentially right here we could have also had, we would have done 1 less check, but we could have also had a redirect if we'd gone into the Grademon instead, which would be very nice. But they do still have their Angemon. They push up with this Patamon. They're on 3 memory. Patamon's not evolving into anything. We go into the promo Patamon, which is also not doing anything because they can't add any security from hand. But they then go into Cherubimon Ace, so that's to play out the Angemon and minuses our Gallantmon X into oblivion once it's no longer immune. But obviously they've got no blockers, so we swing just in case they've got an Ace coming our way. We go for the Grademon so that we can get the immunity, and that is that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that gameplay. Very unfortunate for that 3 Great Angels player there. I think a little bit of a unfortunate situation in which they, obviously ended up trashing more of the stuff than they needed to. But hard call to make. But I did say we would have a look into seeing what other X Antibodies you could potentially put into the Chronicle Engine to kind of manipulate your top end and have something slightly different. Obviously, you could go to the classic Chronicle stuff, so the Oriumon, the Alphamon, stuff like that. But again, that's boring. We don't want to do that. I mean, you can if you want. Obviously, we talked about Gigaseedramon already. You could potentially go something like Gankumon X. That would be a nice defensive one. Opponent's then gives everything reboot and blocker. That is a system on a Raw Knight, so it would do that to itself as well. So it gives itself reboot blocker, be unaffected. Digivolve 2, something. It's not quite as aggressive as the Gigaseedramon, and obviously Gigaseedramon gives it that protection through the Grademon combo. But it's another Digimon that kind of gives itself its own form of protection, meaning that the Hisaryumon can potentially, give it a bit more of an edge. So Gankumon could be a good shout, for example. You could maybe try and use some of the Royal Base stuff, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. They need too much face down stuff. Lord Nightmon X is an interesting one to think about, but I don't think the deck goes wide enough to really take a full advantage of it. There's the Dexdoru stuff, but not stuff trash manipulation maybe. But they do some interesting stuff. Magnamon X is a no-go because we don't have any armor forms. One that I think is interesting, though, is going to be, not you, Greymon stuff. So there's a surprising amount of good synergy with Greymon stuff. Obviously, it's got the reboot, it's got the redirects. You know, if you're playing that Ginryumon that gives blocker to an X Antibody, you could give blocker to this Black Wall Greymon, and then it's got potentially 2 redirects, which would be very, very cool. Really immovable, really hard to get off of the board, clears stuff off, you know, so not bad at all. You could also use, when I find them, there they are, the Gallantmon stuff. So Gallantmon would be really interesting in this. Have one of your coaches out, go into this Gallantmon, you've attacked mid-swing, you then go into this one, force them to attack with something, you know, really cool stuff. So there's a lot of exploration you can have with the Chronicle Engine, and you know, people have already done that, but I just got really excited by it and wanted to give it a go. Honestly, because of the fact I probably wouldn't end up building this Gallantmon X version IRL, I would look at, if I do decide to build it myself, would be to either go the Gigaseedramon route, or, because I know I've already got them, the Gallantmon route, but I have not tested those. But I think that would be quite interesting. Make it unaffected with the Grademon, you get the redirect, you get reboot and blocker from the promo, trash when they do that, you trash with this, potentially script up +1, 4 checks, essentially. For 5 checks, it'd be script. No, 2 checks for the actual check, 1 from the trash, 1 from the trash 4. So that'd be pretty interesting. You could also use the BT21 one as well. You know, to give yourself, you know, script up +1. Obviously, they wouldn't get as big as the Gigaseedramon can, because it can't play stuff out, and it wouldn't get as big as the Gallantmon X. But I still think it'd be very interesting. I mean, this is a deck that kind of quite fits these Gallantmon cards quite well, because obviously we've got the reboot and blocker. We have effects to give ourselves boosts on the opponents on their turn, but also on our turn. So if we want to be more aggressive, we can use those inheritables. If we want to be more defensive, use these ones. So that's a very interesting option. I think that'd be very cool to use the Gallantmon stuff in this instead. But I hope you guys like this deck profile. It's a little bit of a weirder one. No idea if the algorithm will like it, because it is just a bit of a weird deck. So to help with that, if you did like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ding that notification bell. We are incredibly close to 1,000 subscribers at the time of recording this. Last time I checked, I think we had just over, I think 970, I think we're at. So 30 more at the time of recording. We might even have more by the time this video comes out. You know, so let me know, or you know, what other kind of things you guys like to slap your Gallantmon X's into, and also let me know if you want to see any more kind of deep dives into using an engine that's a little bit more kind of janky. Originally I was going to do like a top 10, you know, favorite engines in the game type thing, and I might still do that. I just need to kind of script that and get that sorted. But the Chronicle Engine, definitely up there after the testing I've been doing it with this. Really like it. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you again on the next video, but until then, keep it digital.